What's going on, Mr. B? Yeah. Sound working and everything? Candy, how's it going? Daryl Deemer, Jeremy, Soggy Pits. How's everybody doing? It's the late night chat. LRB just finished his stream, so here we are. Pam's here. Pam, how you doing? I know you were sick. Are you doing better? Pam, how you doing? Sound is delayed. Well, how do I fix that? No idea. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to fix the sound. I'm glad, though, I figured out how to move the chat box around. So that helps me out a lot. I'm going to move it up. Your lips don't match your audio. Yeah. I guess we're going to deal with that. Because I don't know how to correct that. Tom says, Steven with a PH Aquatics. Jeremy says, I just accidentally ate all the zucchini I cut up for my isopods. And then Pam says, as long as you don't accidentally eat the isopods. It's like an old kung fu movie. Why not? They taste like shrimp. Watching my pea puffers fighting over bloodworms with my least killifish. Yeah, does anybody know how to resync the audio? And Mr. B, did you see you were a winner for Dan's fish? But unfortunately he can't send it to Canada. HC's here. How's it going, man? Pam says, I barely know how to even live stream. So, while everybody's just is here, I went to the Columbus Fish Club meeting tonight. It's called Cafe. And Jeremy Bosch was the speaker tonight, and he did a talk on his collecting trip in Colombia. And what I found very interesting and very awesome was that he collected. I should have kept count because I didn't think to keep count because it's like, oh, you found this fish, but it turns out that his group found, it must have been 4 or 5 at least, fish that are not described yet. So, like, brand new fish. So that's awesome. There was a couple plecos that were not described. So I thought that was super awesome. And he has them. He brought them back and is working on breeding them. And I think he said one of the pairs that he brought back just dropped eggs this week. So that will be super awesome. And that might also be one, I think he might have found a Cory 2, and like maybe that one dropped eggs, but one of the fish that he brought back just dropped eggs this week. So that's super exciting to have new fish in the hobby that is already being bred, so that can be spread out. And I'm going to pull up his website. Because he also breeds and sells a bunch of fish. Let me, his website's, he updated his websites. So he bought a drone when he went to Colombia, so he was able to, like take pictures and video from above, but they also used the drone to find like little spots off of these streams and rivers to try to go catch fish or collect fish. Jeremy says that's awesome. There aren't any pics online. I'm going to bump you guys over to his website. Let me try not to break this. Okay, so here's his website. It's amazontropics.com, and I haven't been to it in probably a few months, but this is obviously his drone footage from Colombia. And what was really cool is that he basically did 2 talks in one tonight, and it was long. I think it was like an hour and a half or so, but I was really interested, especially since he caught fish that's not been described yet. And he was saying that in this location that he went to, it was like a safari driving like to these locations. He's like, it felt like he was in Africa, and then they would get to the locations to collect. So let me see if he's got any information. This is talking about the fall auction that was last weekend, I believe it was, or maybe it was a few weekends ago. I think it was last weekend. So here's like the fish that he breeds. And he is successfully breeding zebra plecos. So I'm trying to get my hands on some of those because I think they're just super awesome. He had these L333s, these Yellow King Tigers. He had some of those there tonight that were pre-sold. Somebody bought them and he brought them to the meeting. And what else did he have? I think it was these 345s, these Silver Prince plecos. So I'm definitely going to get a hold of him and try to get some of these plecos from him. He's a big cat guy. He brought back a ton of cats. Yeah, I don't see... Well, let's go blog. I was hoping like it would have maybe a blog post of the fish. Here's some pictures that he took from Colombia, because I saw those in his yeah, these are the rivers and stuff that he went to. I didn't know he had all this on here, honestly. This is all of his stuff before he went. He got these coolers. I forget if he got them at like Meijer or Walmart. He said they were only like $15, so he bought like 4 of them. And that's the drone he bought to take with him. Wait, are these the fish? Okay, yeah, so here's the fish. I'm going to try to blow this up. Yeah, that's working. Let me get back. These guys were cool. So here's an Episto that's undescribed that they brought. This Ancestris is undescribed. He has some really like close-up pictures in his slideshow. Alright, let me zoom back out. It's kind of cool that he got them, like, all these pictures are, like, on the same rock almost, you know? It's like he set it up like a photo booth. That honeycomb's awesome. But yeah, so Pam says she's going to be lurking while listening. Lurking and listening while I paint. So another thing, let me switch this back. So another thing, the Waterboxx aquarium I was talking about on my last live stream, it's currently on back order, and they're talking like minimum 4 weeks. I think it said like 4 to 6. So I gotta wait at least probably. I'm going to go with the higher end of 6 weeks before I can place an order for that. And why is my chat lagged out? So I talked to Jimmy today. He said let him know what date we're going to do this collaboration on. Lucas said he would come and do scaping on that tank. I think we're going to try to do it on a Friday. He's going to do his Friday night live stream from my house. And we have to work out like dates. Obviously, I need to get the tank first. Once I have the tank, then I have to get all the hardscape and stuff. Lucas is going to bring plants from his store to scape the tank. And then I invited Jimmy down. Jimmy said he would come. I just have to let him know what the date is. And, I told him he can get involved in scaping the tank too if he wants to, or if he just wants to hang out. If he wants to do video or pictures or anything like that, he's welcome to do whatever he wants. Jimmy's really fun just to hang out with, so he's more than welcome to come down and have dinner with us and do whatever. I don't know how long it's going to take to scape the tank. With being, if we end up doing it on a Friday, I will have to take the day off of work, which isn't a big deal. And I don't know if, maybe I'll try to do some things with Lucas during the day, outside of doing the actual scape on the tank. Maybe take him to a couple of local stores, and depending on like weather, if it's decent out, we'll go hit up some nature areas around here. I just got different ideas what to do, but definitely do like dinner and stuff like that. I'll take him out. Jeremy says those are some neat Ancestris. Yes, and the corridors he has are pretty sweet too. I was trying to see. I really like the L345, so I think that's going to be the next purchase I do from him. My Super Reds that I bought, which were in a video I uploaded, I think it was probably like a Rack System 2 update. I got those from a breeder here in Ohio. I've been like on this kick of trying to buy as much as I can possibly locally. And then I had an idea after the club meeting when I was driving home my truck. I had YouTube playing through the Apple CarPlay so I could listen to Lucas's live stream. And he was talking about doing a fish room update. And I kind of got this idea of a series I want to do. I want to do a playlist on my channel that's like a fish room tour. And, everybody does fish room tours of, um, big places like, let's say like LRB's house, Aquarium Co-op, stuff like that, um, which are awesome. Um, there's a reason why everybody wants to do tours of those places. But I want to do a playlist that's broken down into fish clubs. So what I would like to do is start with like my club, Columbus Cafe, and do tours of like members, like fish rooms that you're not going to really see on YouTube because those people aren't creators and stuff like that. And I want to do a playlist like cafe member fish room tours, and then reach out to the Cincinnati group, the Greater Cincinnati Aquarium Society, and do try to feel them out. Maybe get on their Facebook group and say, is anybody interested in letting me film your fish room? And I can say this is the GCAS member John Doe's fish room, and that way you see more of the non-mainstream fish rooms, because there's a lot of people that have been in this hobby forever, and they still have some old school ways of doing things. And I think it would be really awesome to be able to showcase some of the different aspects of the fish rooms, filtration systems, and stuff like that. I feel like my fish room is more geared towards like my age range, where I'm using like Alexa and a lot of Wi-Fi switches to control everything for me to make my life a lot easier. I like to see Jess says, turn your beta tank light on. I want to see it. Well, I will do that. So yeah, it's something I want to do as a series. Let's go to manual. This webcam is washing out the tank, but what's cool is with the Fluval lighting. So this is, I switch it over to manual, which basically kicks it up pretty high. I'll back the colors down. There's some algae on the glass. The ram's horns are slacking in their duties. Wow, I gotta really back this light down. So that's 10% light. It's actually way brighter on my screen than it is right now. So that's 3% power on the lights. Red and blues are all the way up. I'll turn those off. Yeah, it's literally 3%. Like, I don't know. Like, those sliders are all the way over. Tiffany says fancy lighting. Yeah, so Fluval is definitely my favorite lights. They're expensive, but being able to control everything from my phone is super awesome. And this is manual mode, where I'm just manually setting it to where I want. I run it in an auto mode where it does like the sun up to sun down, so it ramps the intensity up during the day and then brings it down. You can have it run like if you want blue or the red lights at night, you could do that. If you leave the blue light on overnight, it's just going to promote algae growth. So I just have this thing go totally dark at night. But the glass needs, I don't scrape it. I just let the snails do their thing. And yeah, so they're slacking right now. Let me see what's going on in the chat. So, Pam, I meant to ask you, what are you painting tonight? Jeremy says it's a great idea for a series. Come to CCAC with Haley and LRB. What's the CCAC, Tom? Is that like Chicago Cichlid Association or something like that? Candy says I love that light too. Yeah, I mean the Fluval. So I run, that's the Nano. I run that on that tank, obviously. I run the 3.0 on my rack system 2. It's in the middle row, and they're just, it makes my life way easier. So I started the rack off at like 50% power, and once the tank really established itself to where um, the algae was under control, I started ramping it up, and now I'm running it at 100% power, and the system's settled to where I'm not getting like the algae on the glass. It's heavily packed with ram's horns, which is great because I'm trying to sell them. So it works out perfect, and I just love being able to control stuff with my phone. The only downside is that once in a while, I don't know if it's like a power outage or something, but if it like loses power, it'll default off, and I'll notice it that it's not on because it runs most of the day, and at night it's still on but just really light. And if I come home and that light's off, then I know I need to go back into the app and tell it to go back into my mode, my programmed mode. Tiffany is planning on going to Aquashell in Dallas. When is it? Is it like March, I think? Ginger and I will likely drive to Dallas if she can get off work. Circle City Aquarium Club. Okay, Circle City, that's Indianapolis, I'm guessing. Jess says, I'm going to try to make it, but maybe not. Tiffany says it's in March sometime. It says 2020 to be determined for Dallas, but Chicago is September. Location to be determined. I really hope that they change the location of the Chicago one. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to be in a different place, and then something happened with that location, so they had to fall back to the old place. To be honest, I didn't know there was a whole saltwater section. Like, I knew there was like a room, but I didn't realize there was actually quite a bit in there. So I think it'd be really cool if somehow they can get like one ginormous like convention center, and then like, so it's one room, and then just split it. Like, this is saltwater down here, freshwater down here. So that way it's like one big room versus trying to walk through the hallways and stuff. I didn't like the hallway thing. It was too packed. But the location in Dallas, it has a location, just no date. Where Chicago has a date but no location. Oh wait, no, but under upcoming festivals, I keep forgetting I can switch you guys over to what I see. So right here, it has the location. But down here, it says to be determined. So who knows? But I mean, honestly, if they're doing it in March, they need to get that figured out real quick. But I guess, I mean, it might not even be March. It still says to be determined. Where'd my chat go? I think I remember, Mr. B says, I think I remember Bentley talking about a fix for the problem you're describing on that light. Yeah, I need to look into it. It doesn't do it all the time. I just have noticed it a couple times this summer. Um, I think it mainly happened like during a power flicker. Luckily, knock on wood, I haven't had any actual power outages since I did my fish room. Something that I thought about, my house, the previous owner actually had a whole home like backup generator. So it's pre-wired to have a generator outside, and then they like closed it off. So in my fish room, that's where it's like a utility room. There's my panel box, my electrical panel box, and then there's a sub panel box, which is for anything that they wanted the generator to run. So it's like the furnace, the fridge, like they had the stove, like all the major appliances. And there's a transfer switch. So like there's a switch on the wall. It says like grid and then like generator. And you flip the switch and it's supposed to somehow transfer everything. And then outside my back door, there's a electrical box. It's got a blank plate, but I'm assuming that's where the plug was for the generator. So I really should think about getting that working. It's never been a big deal to me. Previously, I've only lost power here in the last 5 years twice to where it was more than just a few hours. And the one time it was like going on 6 hours, but I didn't have like the fish tanks yet. So at like hour 3 of no power, it was a weekend. I ended up just going to the bar and hanging out there. It was the middle of summer and the house got extremely hot. So I hit up a bar and hung out there until my power came back on. And the nice thing about that is that my alarm system has battery backup, but anytime it loses internet connection or power or anything like that, it alerts my phone. Because if I lose internet, it's all Wi-Fi based. If I lose internet, it's got a backup cellular like data card in it, so it'll switch to a cell network. So that way, if somebody broke into my house when there's no power, it'll use the telephone system. Well, if it loses Wi-Fi, so I know I don't have power, it'll say like running on battery backup, and it'll say running on cell service. So that's how I know. That's how I use technology to keep an eye on stuff. So if I get that alert that I lost Wi-Fi and I'm on cell backup, I know I don't have power and I need to get home to check on the fish. If anything, my plan now is if anything should happen like that, I'm not really worried about temperatures, but for me, it's about oxygen in the tanks. So I have all those USB pumps, and I have a jump box that has USB ports on it. So I can power up USB air pumps in all my tanks if I need to. But it'd be sweet to have a backup generator, and that way I can be that jerk in the neighborhood that has all the lights on their house and I'm live streaming at the same time. So it's not on the top of my to-do list by any means, but it's in the back of my head of something I may want to do. Jess is studying to get my license as an RN. It's a big crazy test, but I'm excited. Well, good luck with that, Jess. Tiffany says, I think Bentley put out a video about having the full wall light on a timer. When the power goes out or is disrupted, it resets to act like it's 12 o'clock midnight. So maybe that's what's going on. Which is weird putting it on a timer because it's app controlled. So I don't really know why you would need it on on an actual timer, but that whole reset thing is probably what it's doing. Which I guess, I mean, thinking about it, I guess it makes sense because if it doesn't have a backup battery inside, it doesn't know what time of day it is. So you have to set that with your phone. So if it loses power, it's losing its memory, and when power comes back on, it doesn't know what time of day it is. So it's probably just the default that you have to live with. Caleb's here. I did talk to Caleb after the last live chat about I guess there's no like box stores around his area to get like fish food and stuff, so I'm hooking him up with a discount code to help him and his local fish people out with trying to get him supplies. Tiffany saw Caleb but didn't officially get to meet him. Caleb, you missed out. Tiffany was super awesome. That video was before the update to the app to where you could have just one light cycle. Yeah, the only issues um, the only issues I've had with the flu ball was selling them. So I sell the 3.0s. It was, I don't know, a month or two ago when they had the firmware issue where people were buying the lights, and when they would hook them up to their phone, it would do a firmware update and it would brick the light. It would brick the light to where they couldn't use it. And I sold I can't remember if it was a nano or the 24-inch light to a guy in Hawaii. And like I keep track of when everything gets delivered, so that way I know, like, I pay attention to emails, like if there's any issues, and I get an email the day it gets delivered saying I updated the light and now I can't turn it on. And that's like, being from Hawaii, like I could send them a new light, like if there was a issue with the light, but luckily I knew about the problem Fluval was having with that, and I knew if I just sent him a new light, he's just going to do the same thing and it's going brick. So I was like, man, I don't know what to do about that. So Candy helped me out on that with some instructions, and so thank you again, Candy, for that. And the guy, he tried the instructions, and I don't know if it worked or did not work, but he also got information from Fluval themselves. He had sent me the email about it not working and had already contacted Fluval tech support. So they sent him a message on how to do something with his phone, and he actually got to work. So luckily that worked out. So I didn't have to pay to have that light shipped back to me, because my plan was, since I didn't have any issues with my phone doing the firmware, because I tried it on that light right there, it updated fine. My plan was to pull a new light out, upgrade the firmware from my phone, and then swap his light out. But then, I'm paying shipping double, twice, ship his light back and then ship him a new one to Hawaii. So I was really glad I didn't have to do that. I don't know. Somebody was asking about sponge filters last live stream. Those are in stock. They actually were in that day I did that live stream. And heaters will be back in stock here, I think, on Tuesday. They're coming from California. They're shipped. They're on their way. They ship ground shipping every single time, so it takes like 6 days to get them. And those will be back in stock. General Cure will be back in stock. And I have more products, so I switched website hosts as far as the store goes. a while ago. I switched to Shopify, and I don't have all the products ported over. It like auto ported most of the products, but some stuff didn't. And I noticed that any of the water conditioners, Hikari's X didn't port. What were the other ones? Stress Coat didn't port, and Tap Water Conditioner didn't port. And I didn't even realize it until we were kind of like going through the website over the last live stream. So I gotta get those on. And here, this is for Jess. Let me switch you guys over. Okay, Jess. So Jess was asking about hand scrubbing pads to clean glass. So I found her a couple. And I fixed the spelling errors on the thermometers. But let's go to, I can't even like think right now. Cleaning equipment. So I'm bringing these in. She's going to get one of each. I told her I would send her one of each, and one's the Lee's brand and one's the API. And I'm going to send her one of each to try out and let me know which one she likes better, and I want to know why. So I don't clean my glass. I use Snails to do it, and I let it go. And really, honestly, the beta tank that's behind me is the worst tank I have right now as far as algae on glass. So I don't scrub any of my glass. And if I do, I use a mag float. So I don't have a need for these, but obviously there is a need for them. So I don't know. I don't have the ability to test these out enough to know which one's better. So by the description, this one sounds bigger. And so it's listed as sold out. It's on its way in, but I don't want to list these for sale until I know how they are. So Jess is going to be my guinea pig on that and let me know how they work and if they're good or not and which one she likes better. So we'll see. So that's a new product coming. So, and another reason I bring this up is that even if I don't have it, I typically only stock things that sell or trending popular, trending like currently. But if it's something that people need, I can get it. So if there's anything that you guys ever want, and then I don't have, I can special order it in on my next order. The one thing is I just ask that you wait until I place my order. I usually do it weekly. I actually placed 3 orders this week. Actually 4 orders, sorry. I did 4 orders this week. Just because, something like one little sponge pad, it's $4, but it's going to cost me, $12 to get it shipped in. But I placed this with, I think I ordered more fluval substrate. So it's coming in with this order. This stuff sold out the day I posted it. I was really surprised. I only brought in 5 bags because I don't want to have like $50,000 worth of products sitting in my house if it's never going to sell. So I bring in handfuls of stuff to test, and this thing sold out immediately. So I have a new order coming in of that. And then this is like the current week's like top seller is how this main page goes. So these are the products that are the top of the sales list right now. All right, let me get back to the chat. Maybe. Let's see here. Pam posted the GoFundMe. I'm assuming that's the candy one. I hope if you guys can spare $1 or $2, please go to the GoFundMe and show some support for Candy and her family. I know I did a donation as soon as I saw Bob post the link. Oh, wait a minute. I feel like this is like this has to be done. Like, if you don't have Candy as a moderator of your channel, you're just not a legit channel. So I just made her a mod. Let me see. Jess says she's going to test them in her beta tanks. They don't have enough snails. Sometimes they eat them. See, I wonder if that's what's going on in my tank, because I put some ram's horns in there. They obviously laid eggs, and I got babies, and then all of a sudden the algae's kicked up, and my ram's horns usually like keep that under check. So sorry, I was just trying to read up on the chat. So maybe this beta is eating the small snails. Jess says, also in my big tank, I have a whole plan. Yeah, just use them and let me know which one you like better and why. I need a report, single spaced, Times New Roman, no bigger than 12 font. Don't cheat. Candy says, thank you for the donation. No, Candy, like, you totally helped me out, and I know how much you helped this hobby. Everybody should be, like, donating somehow or helping in some way. Like, you're awesome. Like, I really appreciate everything you do for us. Mr. B says, you pull wrenches for a living, I think, don't you, Steven? Yes. I am an auto technician. I work for Audi, a dealer. And I've been there 3 years. And before that, I worked for BMW for 10 years. So that's what I do, 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. every day. And then I come home. I'm on a schedule, so I wake up. I feed my dogs. I let them out while they're outside. That's usually when I get ready for work. I can hear Havana barking actually right now. I get ready for work. I get on the computer. I pull any orders that were placed overnight. I package them. I put them in my truck. Go to work. On my lunch break, I hit the post office, drop those packages off, come home. I let the dogs out, and then I do any more orders that came in, and then go back to work, get home at 5, a little after 5, fulfill any more orders, go to the post office by 6, because that's the last processing time is 6 p.m. at my store. Send out those orders, and then I work on researching products, researching wholesale opportunities or companies. I have a wholesale order that I worked on this week. It's my favorite tool, one of my favorite tools. It's the extendable fish nets. It's the square ones. I don't like the round ones. I like the square ones so you can get up flat against the glass. And it's for, I don't know if they're listed as like a brine shrimp net, but it's like the super fine, so it works really great for shrimp. But it's my favorite tool. I've had it since I started my fish room, and I'm like, man, I love having to be able to extend it. I can get into like rack system 1, which there's less room to work in there. I can make it shorter, and then when I'm like trying to catch snails out of like the 30 gallon, I can make it longer. And I didn't realize like how much I really rely on that. So I found a company that has a decent price on them. So I ordered in 50 of them, and that was the minimum order from that company. And hopefully it's the same quality, and I won't be out 50 of them, but I want to use it and make sure It's not stainless steel, but they're like chrome plated. So if they were left in water, they would rust. But mine still works and it's not rusty. I just want to make sure I don't get like a shitty product. Um, that's the thing I've been doing with those USB air pumps. I posted on here like months and months ago about. I still am using them, and I want to make sure it's a good supply. I didn't want to just buy it and then immediately put them on online for sale and then have them be like shit. So um, I got those like at the beginning of the summer, so it's been like a few months now of using them. And I had one that seemed kind of loud, and it was on the pond, but it got quieter. Like the next day I went out there, it got quieter. So I don't know if it was like breaking in, like if it had like a bad casting on the plastic or something on the impeller. But the next day it was quiet, so like I don't know, but I want to, you know, I want to use the product before I just like post it for sale. Jess says unmod Candy. Let her just hang out here. Candy doesn't need to do anything here. I just want her name blue. That's all I care about. Mr. B, apparently you create them too. So much for that, Candy. Laughing my ass off. Um, let's see here. Tiffany said that I was just thinking I've never seen Candy in a chat without a wrench. Exactly. Like, she can't be in here without the wrench. It's just not right. It's like seeing Rob from Flip Aquatics without a hat. Like, who has seen Rob without a hat? I've seen Rob without a hat when I was up there, but I don't think he's ever in a video without it. Mr. B says, I do as well. What do you do, Mr. B? Are you like a general mechanic? Are you a technician? So I get that question. Like, let's sidetrack the fish stuff right now. People ask me like what I do, and I say like I'm a technician for Audi, and like sometimes they don't understand like what's that mean? I'm like it's a mechanic, and like so then I get the question, well, what's the difference between a technician and a mechanic? And I guess they could be the same, but typically like how I describe it is a technician's trained for a specific job. So when I was a BMW technician, I was trained specifically to work on BMWs. I could work on other stuff, but as like a technician, you're trained for a specific thing. So like you could be like a home AC like HVAC technician. You're trained for like home systems. Mechanic, I would say, is like the general term for like we consider let's say like an independent shop that has mechanics who work on cars. Um, Sorry, I have like ADD. I get distracted super easy. I'm just reading the chat. Jess says Candy doesn't have a wrench in my chat, Tiffany, and she never will. I love her, but she needs a break here and there. Yes, so Candy, don't do anything in my chat. Just hang out while you're doing your emails and stuff. I just wanted your name blue. Um, Mr. B said, could have used your help. I have an S8 with a secondary pump problem. Just figured it out, was in limp mode. I don't know what you mean by secondary pump. Like a secondary air pump problem? It was in limp mode. I'm not sure what you mean by secondary pump. Candy says, I'm just sitting here, people. Mr. B is a mechanic, not a tech. Jeff says, I also need lots of mods. I get weird trolls. Candy says, squirrel. Tiffany, Jess, why would you get more trolls than anyone else? That's odd. Mr. B is a licensed mechanic general. Sweet. Aquarium Club, I didn't even know you were here, bud. He says, "Night have to run. We'll see you. Have a good weekend." I don't think I'll be on here this weekend. Pam says, "Hi and bye, cop." It's funny because I paused because like I just was like speed reading the chat and it said Aquarium Cop, and I for a second I thought it said Aquarium Co-op. I was like Corey's in here? He's in here to police Candy. Jess says, "I just get trolls." Mr. B says, "Fuel, it has two." If you're talking about like fuel pumps, like in tank, are you talking about like high pressure fuel pumps? I would assume that it's got the one in tank low pump, and then it's going to have the two high pressure pumps. High pressure pumps are pretty common. And you also got to watch on fuel actually leaking into the connector on the high pressure pumps. You'll get like rail pressure faults and stuff like that. First thing I do is check the connector because I've seen a couple recently where fuel's going into the electrical connector, which is like the pressure regulator valve on it. Jess, what kind of trolls you getting? They just show up. Well, you gotta be like Lucas where he just loves trolls. So while you guys are in here, curious, what would your next fish purchase be? I'd like to know what your next actual fish would be. Like, if you want to buy something, what's your next purchase? And then along with that, what's your next product purchase? Like, if you're planning to buy something, whether it be fish food or tank related, are you buying a new fish tank? What's your guys' plans coming up? Exactly. See, I could have used your help. Mr. B, if you ever need my help, just send me a message on Facebook because it'll go right to my phone. And I can even do like the video chat through there to try to remotely help you. I actually worked on a car from Canada today. I got in it and the cluster was all in kilometers. We don't really see that often at all. The stream software I have has a live chat like built into it and it never works. I've yet to ever have it work once. It just says invalid parameters. Like, I don't know if it's a setting that I don't have correct. Uh-oh. Am I still live? It just said my stream was offline, so hopefully I didn't just kill myself on that. Candy says, "I want LRB's Dwarf Neon Rainbows." He sent me two. I need a school. His rainbows are super awesome. I'm not fluent in rainbows at all. I hear like the rainbow names, but I couldn't tell you like Oh, that if I saw a rainbow, I couldn't tell you like what it, which kind it is, but they're awesome to watch. Mr. B says, I'm wanting to create an all barb tank next. Had one a long time ago, been missing it. So, I remember being, I was probably in middle school. I had I'm thinking a 20 high, if I can remember correctly, and I had um, tiger barbs in it. I think I had like 5 or 6 of them. And I wouldn't consider myself a hobbyist at all. I had a fish tank. I thought it was cool looking. It had like fake plants in it, and I had like 5 or 6 tiger barbs. And I forget what else I put into it. I don't know if it would have been like a molly or guppy, but anything I put in that, those tiger barbs destroyed them. And that tank sat under a window that got like full sunlight, and the algae was out of control. And that was I didn't know what to do with it. Somehow I got pest snails, and then they, because the algae was under like out of control, they exploded in population to where there was like thousands of them in there. And then yeah, that was, I hate to admit it, but that I was a terrible fish keeper. I didn't do water changes like you should back then. I didn't have live plants back then because I didn't know about them, and I was absolutely terrible. I must have been like 10 or 12 or something like that. And then I got out of fish for a long time, and then I got into here at this house. I got into breeding ball pythons, and then at the time my girlfriend was moving in, and with my girlfriend she was bringing her daughter, a dog, and a cat. And the room that the ball python, it was actually this room. They were in this room. It had like a reptile enclosure system. Um, and I just was like, I'm not going to have time to devote to all these snakes. And especially with like a dog and cat, like this is like the second biggest room in my house. And I was like, all right, this will be her daughter's room, so I'll have to move them to the office room. And I'm like, I just don't have the room, so I ended up selling off everything. And I had a 75-gallon tank, and I had 2 of my um, favorite ball pythons in there, and so I sold them off. So then I had this 75-gallon tank, and I'm like, well, I'm going to make a fish tank out of it. And so the plan was just put water in it, and somehow I came across a video about the underwater sand fall, like the waterfall. I thought that was the coolest thing, and that's what got me into it. I saw that, and then like that link led me to like an aquascaped um, video on YouTube where the guy had like the waterfall, the sand waterfall, and it was like a slope, like it looked like a river, and I was just like super amazed by it, and I love building stuff. And I was like, man, I want to build that, like just like so I could say I did it, and like I know all my friends will be amazed by this thing. So I did it. I made my own styrofoam like rock wall. I coated it in cement, and I plumbed PVC through it for like the uplift tube, and I made it. And it's like half of the background of a 75 tank, and it worked. I got the sand to work, and like family came over and they saw it and they thought it was the coolest thing ever. No one saw it before, and that tank is still set up. That's my 75 in my family room, and it currently now has 3 goldfish and a kissing gourami in it. And I put the goldfish in there. I put one in there last night to see how it would do, and the gourami left it alone. So then I moved the other 2 over, and the gourami was kind of pestering the biggest goldfish, and that was all within the first hour. I went to the club meeting, came home, and I checked on them, and they're all just chilling in there. So far, so good. The 3 goldfish went from a 15-gallon, now they're in a 75. So I'm excited for that because that's way bigger volume for them. And it'll be less work for me trying to maintain a 15 gallon with 3 goldfish because they are very messy. Jeremy's asking what color neon rainbows. Mr. B says, sounds like you made all the typical mistakes. That's how you learn. See, back then I just was like, oh, like super excited I got these fish. And then after like a month, I being 10, I got bored with them, I guess. And then they just kind of like, they weren't thriving by any means. They were just living. And then, I probably had the tank for a year or two, and then they probably died off, and then I got rid of the tank, and then I got back into it, and then with that 75 gallon, it was like, it had fake plants in it and like some decorations, and then somehow I got to Joey's channel, saw his plywood aquarium build. I thought about like, man, like, can I build a plywood aquarium? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And then what really got me going was I got to Rob's channel, and as soon as I saw shrimp, I'd never seen shrimp before in the hobby, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I'm like, man, I want a tank with shrimp, so I bought some red cherries, and then I wanted more, and then that's when I found Lucas's channel and plants. So then he got me into planet tanks, and then I decided I want a lot of these tanks now, and the MTS hit me, and that's when I built Rack System 1. And I think the biggest draw for me into the hobby was being able to like build stuff. I love building things, and I like technology and being able to implement cool things that obviously help me out, but you know I like gadgets and stuff. I like tinkering, so it was like a win-win. So I got like these awesome shrimp, I got these planet tanks, and I got to build the system, and I learned a lot from that first system. It's all independent tanks, all Matin filters, and it was fun building it. And then that's when I did Rack System 2, and I had the idea of the flow-through system, because I knew I wanted to breed out guppies, and I wanted high stock volumes. So with high stock volumes, I knew I needed a large volume of water, and the flow-through system is like a beneficial in that I get that high volume of water, so I can keep high stock loads, and I could do plants extremely well. And I did that 24/7 plant video a couple weeks ago, and the plants are just growing like crazy. Let me catch back up. Candy wants blue rainbows. Tom says, had a 55 full tiger, Dessa, and checker barbs. I haven't had tigers since then. Since I was like 10. And these goldfish, so I guess you guys are learning about this. I've been filming videos on the goldfish. I haven't released a video about them. I did a video like the night I got them from my coworker's house. But this is the first time I've had goldfish since, it was before that barb tank. So I must have been in like elementary school. And it was, they weren't fancy goldfish. It was like the $1, $2. I don't even know what that would be, like a comet maybe. Basically, you go to the fair and you win a fish. It was like one of those. And back then it was inch and a half, maybe 2 inch goldfish in like, I don't know even what those were, like 2-gallon bowls. Like, super terrible for them. But, we didn't know any better. Tiffany says, I plan to get 3 new tanks. A 90-gallon, super sweet, and 240 breeders. I want to upgrade my blue angelfish to the 90 with some dwarf neon rainbows. 140 breeder is for koi angels. I already have the angels. That's awesome. I've never had angels before. The Waterboxx aquarium I want to get, I really want discus. And I don't know, I flip flop ideas. I am getting a 125 long aquarium from Rob. Um, so I thought about doing it in that tank and doing the Waterboxx as a like a really nice scape with a bunch of like nano fish, like that big of a tank packed full of nano fish. Like I think the schooling would be sweet. And then I gotta talk to Lucas and like maybe I could still do like a bunch of nano fish with the discus. At that point, I just have to see what's good at that temperature of like 82, 84. Let me see. Kenny said Ansem red but blue. Um, Lucas are the bluest. Jeremy said, oh, so like oversized pancake neons. Tiffany has multiple tank syndrome, might get 65 instead of 240 breeders stacked. So, rack system 3 is 255s stacked. And like they seemed like it was kind of an impulse buy. And I bought them, and honestly, I don't like them. They're currently full of shrimp. Um, one tank is full of Rob's red cherries, and one tank's full of Rob's blues. So I'm trying to get those to at least breed out once in those tanks, um, and then I'm going to start a colony in something else. And I'm running out of space in my fish room, so I'm thinking I might go with 40 breeders stacked, but I'm not sure yet. I think since I have the flow through system already, I have the independence, I'll probably do, and I have a central system. I don't have any video on that because I don't have any fish in that system, so it's like that's kind of waiting until I have some livestock in it. It's the little small containers Lucas gave me months and months ago. It's a central system. They all drain into a sump, and then the sump resupplies that water. And that was a fail. I should post the failed video of that. So the original plan with that was I was going to try to build the whole rack system out of PVC and say that like I built this system with one tool and it's a PVC cutter, but it ends up being a shit ton of PVC. Like I got to like I had like this PVC box made and a 10-gallon aquarium sits in it, and then I tried to get real fancy. So I was going to use the PVC skeleton that's going to hold all these little containers. I was going to use that as the water delivery system for all the tanks. So I was going to plumb the pump out of the sump into the PVC. So literally the rack itself is the water supply pipes, and then I could just run my taps off each, like anywhere there's PVC had water in it was the plan. And then I realized that it was actually taking a lot of PVC, and I'm like, every 90-degree, piece and every T, I'm like, this is adding up real quick. And then I'm like, it just looks kind of hokey at the end. Like, it was kind of a cool project, but it didn't look professional, I guess. So I scrapped that idea and I ended up using steel, and I built a steel rack. And shout out to my cousin. He hooked me up with all the steel for free. So my uncle owns a steel company here in Columbus, so that's like a big bonus for me. Jess says, I definitely want more, or not more, some rainbow fish from Lucas. I'm excited to see what he sends to me. Mr. B says, I always say you can't run out of room if you go up. So my 55s, I really for shrimp, like trying to breed them out. I don't want to keep any fish with them. I keep fry with my current shrimp, and then once they get to a certain size, I pull them out because I don't want them to eat any shrimplets. So 55 is a waste, like a complete waste for the shrimp, and it's just a sand bottom with some hardscape. There's really no plants or anything in it, so I'm really wasting those 55s. So one of my videos I talk about doing shellies, so I think I still want to do that. The only thing is that with doing a 55 in shellies, to me shellies are like one of the ones I would want in my family room, so I can enjoy them like all the time. Because I'll do a lot of my like R&D work for the company like on the couch with my iPad, and I'll usually have like a YouTube playing up on the TV of whoever's videos came out, the latest, and I listen to YouTube while I'm doing like research and stuff on my iPad. But I feel like if I get Shellys, I want them out there so I can just like stare at them because I love like their interaction, like how they pop in and out, and so I don't want to like convert my family room into a fish room, but it's starting to go that way. Like I want so much stuff out in my family room, but um, I don't want to be that crazy guy when people come over and they walk in and like they're hit with like 6 fish tanks right off the bat. Because right now there's 4 in my family room, and two of them are small. One's the saltwater 15-gallon tank, and one's that freshwater 15-gallon that the goldfish were in. I'm going to put shrimp in there, and it's not heated, so to me it's cold, and I know Neos will be fine in it, so I'm going to test out how well they breed in cold water, because I know the warmer they are, like with anything, the metabolism will be higher. They'll probably breed quicker, so I'm going to try splitting off my reds and putting them in there. It's got my hang on the back filter is making some noise, like it's got an air pocket. It's getting sucked up with duckweed. Um, Before I forget, let me switch that pattern or that light back over. Okay, it's back on auto. So I'm gonna put some reds in there and see how they do. It's got the black gravel, so they should get really dark and really vibrant. So I want to see what happens. I guess I'm just going to experiment. Jess says I really don't like stacking tanks. I don't have anything stacked out in my family room, but obviously my fish room's definitely stacked. It's the only way I can fit a ton of tanks in there, and I need more room. Every time I get tanks open, I end up going to like the club meeting, and there's somebody turning in a BAP or something, and I'm like, man, those are super awesome. I want that. So, and then the empty tanks I had for certain reasons are now full. But I want to do a fish import because I want to get like 4 different strains of like Corys and maybe a couple different strains of Pluckos. And I want to order in some like Neons and some Cardinals, but I want those on separate tanks so that way I can do medications on them and treat them for 30 days, and then I can put some size on them and then sell off and hopefully breed Corys, Neons and Cardinals. I don't really plan on breeding, but I plan on selling them. Holy crap, my chat just like updated. Like I don't know what happened, but I just got a ton of messages. Let me see. Tom said more thread fins. Jess said nope. Want some rainbows. You could do thread fin rainbows with thread fin Acara. Too bad thread fin rainbows are ugly. Tom has LRB Thread fancy auction and BAP. Take forever to grow out. Jeremy says PVC is expensive. I tried to buy some yesterday. Single end cap was $10. Jeremy, where are you at, bud? Are you like, I don't know, in Russia or something? That's crazy, bud. I get 10 feet of PVC for, I think it's like $1.88 or something like that. It's like $2 for 10 feet of it. And I always buy like five, I call them sticks, 5 sticks at a time, so I buy 50 feet. And then luckily the store has contractor packs, so like elbows, I think they come in packs of 10 or 20, and they're only like a couple bucks. But when I'm talking, this rack for this tank was maybe this wide. It was tall because I made it so the 10-gallon aquarium sat on the bottom, the sump. But like after adding up all the T's, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have $100 in this thing, and then like it just looks like a really cheap PVC stand almost. Uh, Just said, Jeremy, where are you? So I'm a little behind on that. California. So another tip I guess I could have, or I can give out. So I get most of my stuff from Menards. I'm like right smack in the middle of Home Depot, Lowe's, and Menards. I like Menards the best. Um, they sell like pre-cut lumber and pre-cut PVC pipes. So like if you only need like 2 feet or 5 feet, but the thing is that the 5 foot section is the same price as the 10 foot, and the reason they do that is somebody that's got like a small like project, or they don't have a truck. So like if you roll up in like a little smart car that's like this big, you can't fit 10 feet of pipe in it, so you're like, oh, I'll just buy the 5 foot, like I can stick that out the window. um, and they make a ton of profit off that. So here's the hack, the life hack. If you're doing any kind of PVC work, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting the PVC cutter. Don't use a hacksaw. Get the PVC cutter. They're not that expensive. It's worth every penny. We'll take that with you to the store, leave it in your car, and if you're planning on buying the 5 foot, just buy the 10 foot, go out to the parking lot, and cut that sucker in half. And then you just basically doubled your material for the same price. Because I don't know how many times like people are like, I can't fit that in my car or whatever. Like, you already have the cutter, take it with you and cut it down to size in the parking lot, and then put it in your car. I have a pickup truck, so I don't do that. But if I had a car, that's what I would do. If I couldn't like stick it out the window and try to make it home. Let me catch back up. Jess says Threadfin a car are not ugly. They don't photograph well, but in real life they're amazing. So Jess, I just got rid of my Akara last week, and that was my first fish in the 75 or Akara. And it was kind of like bittersweet. It was like, man, like this was my first fish in that 75, but it was time to, I guess, move on and start something new. So I sold off the convicts and the Akaras. Jess said that, Jeremy, you're on thin ice. Tiffany, I currently have 7 tanks. If I set up 3 more, I'll be at double digits MTS. I have mostly 20s, but I need some bigger ones. I think like 20 longs are like a really good one if you're trying to do like MTS, because when you start stacking, like you can fit a lot of 20 longs in. Mr. B says, laughing my ass off. So, life hacks with Steven, dot, dot, dot. When you're rolling in your smart card, don't forget your PVC cutters. Yes. And PVC cutters, I use that to cut my drain hoses. So, all my 3/4 inch, like PVC, like the, for my overflows, like cuts in a second. Like, it's great for more than just pipes. I've even used them to open fish bags before. Jess says my cars are babies, maybe 3 inches, and I love them. I don't know. I had the electric blue cars. I don't know their max size, but they were, I don't know, 5 inches. I mean, maybe tail to tip. One of them might have been. Nah, I won't think 6 inches. I'll say 5 inches. The convicts were not full grown. The one convict was picking on the smaller one, so the smaller one didn't get to eat as much. That was another reason, and it sucked because that small one was like super personable. Like I really liked the small one, and it was a cute little thing. But the big one would pick on him, and the small one would always hide like up in the corner of the waterfall. And like, this thing's not living its best life, so I rehomed him to a club member who is he a biochemist? I think he's like a biochemist or something like that. But I'm sure they're in a better home now, and that freed up the 75 for the goldfish. That 75 is going to get torn down and completely redone once I figure out what to do with the goldfish. I don't know if I'm going to keep them forever, but currently I'm enjoying them, so they're living out a better life than they were at, so. Papa Shrimp's here. How's it going, bud? Electric blues are different than Thriffin. Yes, I know that. I'm just saying I had electric blues. Jeremy, I needed 4-inch diameter pipe. That may have been part of it. Yes. So, okay. So, like when I think of doing like PVC for like fish room, I'm thinking like 3/4 inch. It's like super popular across the board. So 4 inch is definitely more expensive. Papa Shrimp says, "Hi Tiffany, sounds like you have the bug. Welcome to the club." We are just hanging out after the LRB live stream, and it's kind of getting more fun. Like these live streams were just like a way for me to basically put out updates of what's going on with the business and the fish room and stuff. And now more people are hanging out, so it's more fun for me and get to talk to everybody. And it's really cool, especially like half the people in here I've already met like in person. Just everybody's awesome. It's funny because like you basically creator hop. People saw LRB and like you talk to them in there, then they hop into like here, you talk to them there, and then like throughout the week you're catching everybody's live streams and talking to the same people. It's like a little family. Tiffany says, "Hey Papa Shrimp, nice to meet you, or good to meet you in Chicago. Definitely have the bug." Yeah, so with importing, so I'm getting shrimp from Flip Aquatics, and I could definitely get shrimp cheaper if I imported. I don't want to have to deal with the hassle of that. And the biggest reason I'm going with Rob's shrimp is that he's already doing the quarantine process for me. I'm still quarantining. I'm not doing like any med treatments unless there's an issue, and I haven't had a single issue with his shrimp yet. I get the deaths and stuff. You know, I think the oranges I got from him, I would say they did the worst as far as deaths. Um, I had like the most losses, which really wasn't that much. The blues, I was the one were the ones I was worried about, and they've been like rock solid. In the reds, I had maybe like 3 or 4 deaths, and I've had them. I don't know how long it's been. It's been probably at least a month now, and they're doing well. This order, I have started selling from. I'm trying not to list them all for sale because I'm kind of trying to get them to colony breed, and then I want to split the blues into more tanks to kind of multiply them quicker. Jeremy says, but clams don't fit inside 3/4 inch. Like, what you trying to build over there, Jeremy? Jess I did some creator hopping at Aquashella. It was awesome. So much fun meeting everybody and seeing friends. I can hardly wait for my next fish convention, which will be Aquashella, right? Aquashella, Dallas. So I've never been to Texas, so I would really love to go to Texas. And I don't know like how much stuff there is to do around there that's either fish related or non-fish related. I would really love to make it like a vacation on top of the whole YouTube thing and the event. Like go do other things that are maybe not fish related. But we'll see. I mean, I don't like planning super far out in advance because I never know how work's going to go. Um, with the automotive industry, the way we get paid is if you don't work on a car, you don't get paid. If you work on a car, you get paid. So if work is busy, you stay busy and you make a lot of money. But if there's no work, you don't get paid. So definitely experience in Chicago. And the event was fun too. There should be one day, man. Australia's getting a fish convention this year. Australia would be super sweet to go to. I can't imagine. Does anybody know how much it costs to fly to Australia? And what's the flight time on that? Um, I'm gonna switch you guys over. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where it'd be, but let's say Sydney. Just the flight. Let's just make a date up. Let's say $1,200. That's really not as bad as I thought it would be. Let's say you go for a week. You can make it there in one stop. That's freaking awesome. I figured it'd be like a ton of stops. Melbourne. Oh my god, 22 hours. And this, oh, that's the lowest price. Is there like quickest? Yeah, duration shortest. Oh, still 21 hours. That's plus 2. What's plus 2 mean? Does that mean plus 2 days? 7:20 p.m. to 6:25 a.m. plus 2. I'm assuming that's like, how could that be 2 days though? I can't imagine that means 2 days. But 1,400 bucks round trip, like that's not as bad as I thought it would be. So Ohio to Dallas. Holy cow, 17 hours. Wow, 17 hours in air. I don't I don't know if I could do 17 hours in the air. That's crazy. And that's coach economy. How do you upgrade it from coach? I'm just curious how much that would cost. I don't see how do you upgrade that? Does anybody know how to do that? Oh wait, show options. First class. So we were at like 1,400 bucks. Search. What's that shoot the price up to? Holy shit. $7,200 is the cheapest price. Let's do the one stop. $8,400 to be in first class. That's a significant jump in price. That's like 2 or 3 Waterboxx aquariums. That's how I look at it. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Where'd my chat go? Where's my person that's going to come here and manage the chat? I forget if that was, I want to say it was Tom. Oh, what did I miss? You can't love me, but not love my clams. We're a package deal. I thought everybody loved clams. Okay, I missed something. Mr. V, wait, are we talking about the same thing? I'm not going to go on. So did I. Apparently we're mistaken. Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. What's Punchy's camping trip? Jeremy says, but just without clams, then how am I supposed to breed? Yeah, that word. Jeremy, life finds a way. You guys, I don't know who was here in my last live stream, but I was talking about doing, Mr. B says I'm dying here now. I mean, you have to find a clam substitute. Or just milk them goldfish style. Okay. So I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Apparently, Punchy's camping trip is pretty exclusive. I probably shouldn't even mention it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Mr. B says he's done. Yeah, I feel like that conversation could go downhill real quick, and I think it's already rolling down. Um, I don't even know what I was about to talk about. Something was the last live stream. It's a camping trip for the fish fam in the know. Well, now I know. I couldn't make it anyways. If it's anytime soon, isn't she like under snow right now? I'll message you about the trip. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh, I remember. So last live stream I was talking about like a website with it's just a calendar for fish tube. I'm getting distracted again. 3 seasons away. Not anytime soon. Okay. Um, Doing a calendar with a fish tube like schedule of when people are doing their live streams. Um, I thought about it. I think I really want to do it. I think it would help people out and just have like a submit form so people can submit their information like, hey, this is my name, this is my channel, and this is the time I do my live streams. So I think I need to add that to my list of stuff to do. I don't think it'll be that hard. It won't be like automated. I'll have to like manually like make a calendar and then just I think like basically like an Excel spreadsheet or a table with the dates. Sorry, I just gotta check this real quick. Cat. It said there was motion at my front door. I'm like, it's pretty late to have somebody at my house, so it's just a cat walking by. Oh, Pam's here. It'll be in September again. I didn't know you even did one. Did you do like a video or anything? Jeremy says, I'm trying to buy PVC to make a clam gun to harvest clams from the mud flats at the biggest low tide of the month so I can get host specific Taiwanese blue amur bitterlings to spawn inside of them. Pam had a rather difficult time getting to camp. Yeah, I obviously didn't hear about this, so I guess I need caught up on that. I plan on picking her up next year. I have much better luck. Pam, did I might have missed it? Did you ever say what you were painting tonight? Candy says no. Thomas ended up with a video from the camping trip. All right, let's move off the clam talk. Is the stream buffering right now? I just looked at the YouTube stream page or whatever. It says error, not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will be experiencing buffering. Jess says, I'm putting together a game organizer for Gloomhaven. Takes a long time. I don't know what that is either. Oh, it's a game? Candy says stream's good for me. I also upgraded my internet. They switched the speed a couple days ago, but they have to come out and change out like my hardware. But it's a gigabit service now. I'm just not getting the download speed that I should be. So it's free for the hardware. So they're bringing out like new updated stuff, new like router and modem. Let's see what it's at. It's also like late, so I don't know if it's better or not right now. Yeah, so it's supposed to be a gigabit, and I'm not there yet. So we'll see what it runs tomorrow. 375 down, 40 up, ish, less than 40. So that should help with the streaming. 32 up to Chicago. So yeah. So hopefully tomorrow their new equipment will boost that up, and that will help with buffering and all that stuff. Candy says, I'm tired. I am living on 1 hour of sleep. Candy, you need to get some sleep. Jess says, I'm going to get back to work and listen. Good luck, guys. Caleb is sick. I can't sleep until he does. Ah, that sucks. Candy, are you like a coffee drinker or like pop or you probably say soda, but I'm assuming you run on caffeine somehow? Tiffany needs to go. See y'all later. See you, Tiffany. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. I should be working on editing videos. I have 4 videos that need edited right now. Select Pets here, what's up? Just dropping in for a second. Tea for me, please, says Candy. Well, doesn't tea have caffeine in it? I like sweet tea, but I'm not like I can't drink hot tea. Mr. B says Candy is a robot. She does not need coffee or sleep. Select Pet, we were asking what your next purchase will be as far as fish and or equipment. What you would like to be your next purchase. Would you like to buy another tank? Would you like to buy more plants, more fish, substrates, like whatever? We're just kind of seeing what people's plans are for their next purchase. And Candy's working and not sleeping and doing all the things. I really wish I can get this streaming program to like work correctly. Like it'd be sweet if I had the live chat work in it. Select Pet says all of the above. Yeah, I know it's pretty generic. Jess, get out of the chat. You gotta get back to work, remember? Because I would like to have the chat like up here closer to the camera. Just gotta like play with it. I feel like it's taking me this long to just get like the video to work correctly. Jeremy says he's not allowed to talk about his plans anymore. Yeah, that was Select Pet. You missed that. That was interesting. Mr. B's trying to be tonight's troll. I'm not very good at. Yeah, you're not trolling correctly. You need to go freshen up at the troll school. I think. Let me. Oh, so here's something I haven't mentioned yet. I ordered a 3D printer yesterday. My dad's got a 3D printer. He's the one that was making all these rack system plaques for my fish room. He 3D printed these, and he's made like some airline holders, like brackets I can screw to the back of the racks. He printed me it's a like suction cup moss rack for your fish tank. You know, it's so you can plant moss on it, and it suction cups to your glass. And then I got some ideas. I'm like, man, like I kind of want to make my own products. So I don't want to have like my dad just printing stuff all day long, because some prints are going to take, a while. The one moss rack he printed, I think he said took like 2.5 hours. So if I have a printer, I can just let that sucker run 24/7 making stuff. And so I bought a 3D printer. It was shipped today, and I don't know how long that's going to take to get here. Then I have to like build it or set it up and do some test prints. But I got some ideas for moss racks. So one of the ideas I have, so like if you think, let's just say this is like the moss rack. It's flat. It's got like the holes in the top for to glue the moss on for like the roots and stuff to like work its way through. It's got like a tab that comes down with a hole for your suction cup, and you stick it to the glass, and then it grows. I thought, man, it'd be cool to have like a corner one. So think of like an L, but have it like rounded so it's nice, and then you can stick these like in the back corners of your tank. And the second part of that, instead of doing suction cups, which could eventually like fall down, I want to do magnets because my dad does a lot of stuff where he 3D prints a magnet hole into it, and then you can put a magnet into whatever he's printing. So that way you can put it up against the glass and have a magnet on the backside, on the outside of the tank, have it attached to it, and then if you want to like work on the moss, like trim it or something, you can slide the magnet up like a mag float, and it'll bring the ledge up. That's what I'll call it, the moss ledge, up to the surface. You can do whatever you want, and then move it back down with the magnet. I thought that'd be super cool, and it'll help keep your arms and stuff out of the tanks. So, and they have like all different kinds of things. Like, you know, you can make a shrimp cave. That's what these are. These are ceramic. You know, there's just a ton of stuff you can make. Intake screens and overflow baffles. Like, really, it's unlimited what you can build with it. I even saw a 3D printed like background, and obviously, like with a 3D printed background, you'd have to like airbrush it or something to, you know, give it some color because it's only going to print in the plastic color. I'm like, man, there's a lot I could do with it. So I decided to invest in a 3D printer, and I'm starting with like plant related items. I gotta get the software and design what I want, and then do test prints and go from there. And I was reading up on because there's all different kinds of plastics you can use. The most common one's PLA, but you gotta be careful with certain plastics are plant based, which is great, like environmentally wise, but they break down in water. They're biodegradable, so using that in an aquarium, it's aquarium safe, but after a year, you might not have your plant ledge anymore. But there's so many different kinds of filaments to use. Papa Shrimp says he's doing a cichlid tank. I got some yellow labs and electric blues. Dude, yellow labs are super awesome. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like my goal right now with my tanks are to be for profit, and I don't know. Right now, it's just not like cichlids aren't my thing right now. But I do love some yellow labs. Select Pet said I almost picked up a 125 for $150, but fell through. That's a great price. If it's brand new, you know, even used is still a good price. I need to work on the basic improvements in the fish room, like electrical, and hopefully I can come across more shellies. So that's the other thing I want to do is on the wall, on the opposite wall of the fish room, like, is my garage. And when I moved into my house, being a car guy, the first thing I did was run 220 volt out to the garage, and it's got a sub panel. I would like to run my fish room off of that. All new wiring specific for the fish room because it's running currently off the housebreaker, the system that was for that room. I'm not having any issues with it, but I thought about this year upgrading to 2 heaters for the fish room. The one keeps it warm, but I figure if I have 2, they can cycle less, and it would be more even heating, having one at each end of the room. But I know that the wiring for that one room is not going to handle 2 heaters running at the same time. Select Pet says 3D printed stuff fish safe. Yes. Um, so a lot of tanks with like built-in overflows and stuff. Some of them use like ABS plastic, and I don't know long term about ABS. The Candy's taking off. Candy, have a great night. I probably won't be able to talk to you until next week, so I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for everything you do, as always. Try to get some sleep. But so reading up on it, the PLA is fish safe, but it's biodegradable, so you can lose. Technically, it'll biodegrade into the tank. So I think over like a year or two time, like you're not going to like notice like a TDS change from that if you're doing your water changes, but you're going to lose the object you have. So I want to do a PLA print first of all and do testing like does it really do this, or is this just everybody's opinion on what it's going to do? They said use PETG, that it's fish safe and it won't biodegrade in your tank, because they're saying in an aquarium that's heated, since we mainly heat our aquariums, it degrades faster than normal. So do 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 do. Let me see. I know of a car company that used biodegradable plastic in car parts wasn't pretty. Yeah, like that doesn't seem like a great idea. Um, so yeah, so I have some ideas of specific stuff I want, and yeah, gotta go from there. But it's getting late, guys. I've been at this almost 2 hours now. Like it's crazy. Like I enjoy this now. Like having you guys here to talk to. It's a lot of fun. But tomorrow I gotta go into work tomorrow. It's Saturday. I'm changing the oil on a friend's car in the morning, and I gotta be back here for the internet people to come and upgrade my equipment to get me up to speed. And then it's time to upload all the videos and test out that upload speed. But I'm going to try and plan on doing my live streams Friday after LRB. It's an open time slot, it seems. If that's not the case, let me know. But I'm gonna try to do it for 10:30. I tonight I just set it for an hour after he went live because Lucas is pretty set on like calling it quits right after an hour. So I think I'll try to do this as my time slot. And if I have something to talk about during the week, then I'll just do my random um, hour times, or not hour, but random live stream. But I want to try to do it Friday nights after LRB. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate all of you. And if I don't go live for a while, please have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys next time. Mr. B says you're good, no one after LRB. Awesome. So thanks guys so much, and see you next time.